Good morning, guys. It is September 11th and it is our next part of our project for canning sloppy joes. So last night I finished the tomato sauce and the tomato paste. This recipe again is from the All New Ball Canning and Preserving book. It is the Saucy Sloppy Joe Starter. So this recipe actually makes about 4 pints. And the first step is to finely chop the bell peppers. There's 3 cups of green, 3 cups of red, and then 2 cups of diced onion. So since I'm one and a halfing this recipe, I have 9 bell peppers, and I just kind of did a variety of colors, whatever looked good. I'm not finely chopping these guys just because I really do like the chunks of bell pepper, so I'm putting them more of like a square, like dime size, instead of a finely chopped, just because I do like the chunkiness of that. I'm going to get all of these chopped into a bowl, and then I actually am going to be making a birthday cake. Family tradition from my family is making wacky cake or depression cake. It's a cake that doesn't have eggs, milk, or butter. And I know that sounds really bizarre, but it is so delicious. It has cocoa powder, and the thing that makes it mix is vinegar and water. So I'm gonna get these things chopped up and then start on my cakes. Okay, so I was going towards 2,250 milliliters of chopped bell pepper, but with what I had, I only got to 2,182 milliliters, which is perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and push this to the side because I need to get started on my cakes. So my cakes just came out of the oven and they are perfect. I checked them with a toothpick and nothing came up. So these guys are going to sit to cool. Usually the best way to eat these guys is the next day. This is why I made them in the morning, so hopefully they are good by night. Just because you want that vinegar taste to kind of cool out of it. So these are best when the cake is completely cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on chopping my onions. Since I'm 1/2ing this recipe, I'm going to go ahead and 1/2 it. So for the onions, I need 500 milliliters. So I have 3 larger onions here. I'm going to start with my white onion, and I got my scale here to the side, right here, and I'm going to go ahead and tear out the weight of this bowl. And then for the onions, just removing the tops and bottoms, and then all of the peel. And I've got my oven preheated at 375 Fahrenheit, which is 190 Celsius, because we're going to be baking this onion and bell pepper mixture for about 20 minutes. This onion is going to get diced. And I need about 750 milliliters of onion. So we'll see how far these 3 go for us, and then I can always grab another from my pantry if I need it. Okay, so we have our 750 milliliters of onion. We're going to go ahead and spray these pans with some olive oil, and then we're going to disperse these evenly into these pans, and then salt them and pepper them. This one's going to be a little tricky. Alright. So it says for the salt, you need about 4 teaspoons. I'm just going to do a light dusting on all of them. Just freshly cracked pepper. Alright, and then I'm just going to toss these in the oven for about 20 minutes or until the veggies are tender and beginning to brown. And I need to make sure that I stir them occasionally. Okay guys, so it's just about time to take out the onions and the peppers from the oven. I have 3 pints of my tomato sauce. I have a half pint of tomato paste with just a smidge that was left over. It wasn't quite enough to can, and so this was been in my fridge. I have about 2/3 of Dijon mustard mixed with ground mustard and about a 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar, as well as about 2/3 cup of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to go ahead and take my onion and my pepper mixture out of the oven and plop it in this pan, and then I'm going to add in my tomato paste. And I'm just going to let that thicken for about 5 minutes together, and then we'll be moving on to the next step. So I'm just going to let this thicken up for about 5 minutes. It's already been about 5 minutes. My camera died. But this stuff tastes exactly like, but better than Sloppy Joe starter mix. It's so good. So I took the jars that I had used for my tomato sauce just because I was out of pints and plopped them in my water bath canner so that I can have some freshly sterilized pint jars. I'm going to go ahead and fill those up first, and then I'll resort to these guys as last measure. Since I only have 3 pints, I think that I'm going to have to use some of these for this. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out. They should be finished. And this needs to be packed with a 1/2 inch of a headspace. So that's going to be just about to the first or middle rim here. It's not really quite enough for a full jar. So this is just going to be put in my fridge, and this will be dinner for tonight. So I'm actually going to take a little bit out of this jar because it is too full. I think I'm going to put it in that one. So the last step is to clean all the rims and make sure that they're good and clean so that we get a good seal. I actually did a pretty good job of pouring these, unlike usual. Alright, so I'm going to grab some lids and bands for these guys, and then we'll plop them in the water bath canner. So these guys, again, just kind of centering the lid and then fingertip tight with the band. Although I actually heard on another video that someone completely tightens them. So I don't really know if this is just like someone had an accident one time and now it's just this, or if it's something that some cultures do and some don't. But I'm intrigued by that. Like with most things, there is a way that is said to be done and other people do it the opposite. So this one I'm just throwing in the fridge for tonight. Alright, so I'm just going to put my pints in one by one, gently make sure the water's fully submerged over the can. And I'm just going to do my pints. And these are going to process for 20 minutes, and then we'll turn off the heat, take off the lid, and let them sit for 5 minutes, and then take them out to cool. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for coming along with me. Sloppy Joes are done. I'm excited to have another thing in my pantry that is just, I know what it is, and it's just ready to go. So I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.